My son struggled in school, so we hired a tutor who met with him on the porch every afternoon. One day, my neighbor stormed over screaming, "Why does he get help when my kids deserve it more?" I thought she was joking. Until our tutor quit, terrified, after someone sent threatening messages from a burner email. Then I got a letter from the school. My son had been reported for academic misconduct. It was a copy-paste job, copied from her daughter's essay. I'm a 38-year-old mom living in Richmond, Virginia, in a neighborhood that pretends to be friendly. On the outside, it looks peaceful. Houses with porches. Kids riding bikes. Parents mowing lawns and waving like everything's fine. It's not. I've lived here for 7 years. I know which neighbor has a drinking problem, which one cheats, and which ones just keep their heads down. That last one used to be me. I didn't want trouble. I didn't talk much to my neighbors except for the usual small talk. I kept to myself and raised my son, Noah, the best I could. Noah is 12. He's not the loud kid. He's not the popular one. He's kind of quiet, always in his head. He loves science and space, but reading and writing? Not so much. 6th grade was a punch in the gut for him. His grades started slipping. His teacher called me in October and said, "Noah's not disruptive, but he's falling behind." I wasn't surprised. He'd been avoiding homework, struggling to focus, saying everything was too hard. I asked for help from the school, but they offered nothing beyond read with him more. I work full-time and barely have time to cook dinner some nights. So I found a tutor. His name was Jason. He was a grad student from VCU, majoring in education. I met him through a tutor matching app. He was polite, professional, and clicked with Noah right away. He came by every weekday at 4 p.m. Always on time. Always prepared. He brought a whiteboard, flashcards, books, snacks even. He made learning feel fun for Noah. I hadn't seen my son smile about school in months. They worked on our front porch. Noah liked being outside, and Jason said fresh air helped him focus. I would sit in the living room and listen through the screen door. The first week, Noah struggled. By week 2, he was reading out loud. By week 3, he was asking questions. He finally felt smart again. That's when Karen noticed. Karen lives next door. Real name. I'm not making it up. She's got 2 daughters, Madison and Bella. Madison is Noah's age, and Bella's younger. Karen's divorced. Works part-time at a dentist's office. Always has something to say. She started with comments. Little digs. Oh wow, a private tutor. That's fancy. Wish I had time to sit around and watch someone else do my job for me. I told Madison she's gotta work twice as hard since no one's handing her help on a silver platter. I ignored her. I thought she was just bitter. Everyone has their moments, right? But then she started getting aggressive. One afternoon, I was sweeping the porch. Jason and Noah had just finished their session. Karen walked over, didn't even say hi. Why does your kid get help when mine deserve it more? I thought I misheard. What? You heard me. Madison's in the gifted program. She actually tries. Your kid's barely scraping by and he gets a private tutor? That's messed up. I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. But her face was dead serious. I told her the tutor was none of her business and went inside. I didn't think she'd actually do anything. I underestimated her. 2 weeks later, Jason started acting weird. He came late. He kept looking over his shoulder. One day, he forgot his whiteboard and apologized 3 times in 5 minutes. I asked if he was okay. He said he was just busy. Then he ghosted. No call. No text. Just didn't show up. Noah waited on the porch for an hour, staring at the gate. 3 days later, Jason came by to drop off Noah's folder. He looked pale, shaky. He told me someone had been emailing him. Threats. From a burner account. We know where you live. Better stop playing teacher before someone calls the real ones. We're watching. They mentioned his parking lot at VCU. His part-time job at a daycare. Even his girlfriend's name. It was creepy as hell. He reported it to campus security, but the emails were untraceable. He didn't feel safe anymore. I'm really sorry, he said. Noah's a great kid, but I can't do this. I'm scared. I told him I understood. I couldn't blame him. After he left, I cried in the kitchen. I didn't cry for me. I cried for my son. That evening, Noah came home, looked at the porch, and asked me, did I do something wrong? Why won't Jason come back? I told him no. I told him he was smart and kind and doing great. I lied, because I didn't know what else to say. Then came the letter from the school. They accused Noah of academic dishonesty. They said a paragraph in his recent essay had been plagiarized. A full section was copied word for word from another student's submission. I asked to see the other essay. It was Madison's. But here's the part that made my blood turn cold. I helped Noah write that essay. I sat beside him while he worked on it. I remembered every sentence. He didn't copy Madison. She copied him. Which meant only one thing. Karen had Madison submit her essay before Noah did, using his words, to make it look like he copied her. Karen had ruined my son's name. On purpose. Just to prove some twisted point. She made Jason quit. She got my son flagged by the school. She poisoned everything she could, all because she couldn't stand to see someone else's kid get help. And that's when I stopped crying. That's when I started planning. I didn't go to the school right away. I didn't write an angry email or call the principal. That's what Karen expected me to do. She wanted a scene. She wanted me to lash out so she could play the victim. I stayed quiet. But I started watching. The school said they'd look into it, but they weren't in a hurry. Noah was placed on academic probation. His teacher, Ms. Riley, started treating him differently. She stopped calling on him in class. Sent home extra reading assignments like he was being punished. And I watched Karen. She bragged to another neighbor about some little cheater finally getting what he deserves. She said it right out on her front lawn while watering her plastic-ass flower bed. So I started digging. I made a burner email, just like the one Jason got, but mine wasn't for threats. I used it to make fake social media accounts. I followed Karen, her daughters, her coworkers. I found her ex-husband's profile. Then his new wife's. I looked at their photos, comments, anything that gave me a crack to slip through. Here's what I found. Karen wasn't just bitter. She was desperate. Turns out she'd been lying to Madison's dad, telling him their daughter was in a private tutoring program funded by the school. That's how she was getting extra money out of him every month. But that money? Karen was spending it at the casino in Chesterfield. She posted pics from a ladies' night out back in March. At the same time she told Madison's dad she was taking Madison to a STEM workshop. It wasn't hard to put it together. I took screenshots. All of them. Comments, timestamps, even her tagged location. Then I found something even better. One night, Karen left her back porch light on. I was taking the trash out when I saw her through the window, on her laptop. She left the curtains wide open like an idiot. I saw her typing something up, an email. I couldn't read all of it, but I caught a few words on the screen: rewrite, deadline, plagiarism policy. I knew that font. It was from the school's parent portal. Karen was in Madison's account. She wasn't just manipulating her kid, she was rewriting her daughter's schoolwork. That's when I realized Madison wasn't the mastermind. She was a puppet. So I made a choice. I wasn't just going to clear Noah's name. I was going to ruin Karen's game. First, I printed everything. The screenshots. The social media lies. The casino trips. The overlap with school events. Then I went to Madison's school page and saw her recent assignments. I copied one of them into a plagiarism checker. It matched an online article almost 80%. Another essay? Straight from a popular homework help site. I kept digging. Found 5 more. So I made a file. Labeled each essay. Added the sources. Cross-checked dates. I even highlighted the sections Madison couldn't have written. Vocabulary that didn't match her age or writing level. Phrases Noah had used with Jason on our porch. Then I made an anonymous report to the school board. Not just the school, the district office. But I didn't stop there. Remember that email account I made? I used it to send Jason all the evidence too. I figured he deserved to know what really happened. I also sent it to Karen's ex-husband. With the subject line, "You're paying for lies." I didn't sign anything. No names. No trace. But the fallout? It started 3 days later. 3 days later, a black SUV pulled into Karen's driveway just after 8 a.m. I watched from behind the blinds. A tall man stepped out. Clean-cut, pissed off. Her ex-husband. He didn't knock. He banged. Karen opened the door in a bathrobe and looked like she'd seen a ghost. He waved a stack of papers in her face. Yelled loud enough I could hear every word from my porch. "You've been stealing from me. Where's the money really going?" Madison told me she never had tutoring. She tried to calm him down, but he wouldn't listen. Madison came outside, crying. Bella stood behind her, silent, hugging a stuffed bear. Then he said something that made my stomach twist, not because I felt bad for Karen, but because I knew things were about to blow open. "I'm filing for full custody." She screamed at him. Called him a liar. Threatened to call the cops. But he got back in the SUV and drove off. Karen slammed the door so hard her porch light flickered. Later that afternoon, a woman from the school district's academic integrity office showed up at my door. She asked to speak privately. She'd received an anonymous report and wanted to cross-reference some materials. I told her everything. About Jason. The threats. The stolen essay. I gave her the printouts, the timeline, even the names of the sites Madison's work had been pulled from. She looked shocked but kept it professional. "We've had concerns about this family before," she said. "Thank you for your time." By the next week, Madison was suspended pending investigation. Noah's academic misconduct flag was removed. We got a written apology from the school principal. Jason even texted me, saying someone from the district had reached out to him and told him they were reopening the case. But then came the twist I didn't expect. Karen knew it was me. I don't know how. Maybe something I said in the report matched a conversation we had, or maybe she just guessed. But one night, just past midnight, I heard banging again. On my door this time. I opened it just a crack. Karen stood there, drunk, makeup smeared, eyes wild. "You think you're better than me?" she hissed. "You think you can ruin my life and walk away? I will bury you, Raina." She tried to push the door open. I slammed it shut and called the cops. They took her in for public intoxication and trespassing. That should have been the end of it. But Karen had one more card up her sleeve. A week later, Child Protective Services showed up at my house. Someone reported that I left Noah unattended with an unrelated adult male on multiple occasions. Said I allowed him to be tutored without background checks. Said he'd been coached to lie about schoolwork. It was all crap. All lies. But CPS doesn't just shrug those off. I had to sit through interviews. Home visits. I had to explain myself like I was the criminal. Noah was terrified. He asked me if they were going to take him away. I told him no. But deep down, I wasn't sure. Karen wasn't just trying to win. She was trying to destroy me. And that's when I made my final move. I'd done everything by the book up until that point. But Karen reporting me to CPS? That crossed a line I couldn't forgive. She had scared my son. She had me sitting in my living room with a stranger asking if I'd ever hit my child. That was it for me. I wasn't going to play fair anymore. I waited until the CPS case was officially closed, which it was, a week later. They found nothing. Noah was healthy, my home was clean, and the tutor had already passed a background check through the app. Case dismissed. But I had a new file. Karen's background. Turns out she'd been fired from 2 jobs before the dentist's office. One for stealing office supplies, the other for making false insurance claims. That wasn't public info. But her ex's new wife? She was a paralegal. After I sent her all those screenshots and told her what Karen had done to Noah, she was more than happy to help. I found out Karen had one big fear, losing her job. She had no savings. She was already behind on mortgage payments. And if she got fired again, she'd lose her house. So I sent an anonymous email to her office's main inbox. From a fake patient. You should really do a background check on your front desk staff. Not everyone's who they say they are. I attached the public court filing from her CPS visit. I also included quotes from the threatening email Jason received, ones she likely wrote, plus the plagiarism evidence. 3 days later, Karen was let go. The practice cited reputation concerns. She didn't even get to pack up her desk. I watched her come home in tears, carrying a box of junk and screaming at her kids on the front lawn. A week after that, her ex filed a motion to take full custody of both girls. He brought every message, every record, every screenshot. The court granted him temporary full custody until a full hearing could be held. Karen was left alone in her house with an empty driveway and 2 pink bikes abandoned by the garage. And just when I thought I could breathe again, just when I thought it was finally over, I found out one more thing. Jason got offered a position at a different school district. One that paid more. But he turned it down. He was scared. The whole thing had shaken him up so badly, he'd stopped tutoring altogether. He told me in a message, "I don't think I'll ever feel safe working with kids again." One angry parent ruined it for me. That crushed me. Not because I owed him anything, but because I realized something. I'd won. But other people got hurt too. Noah got better. He bounced back. He made the honor roll the next semester. We got him a new tutor, this time through the school, and they've been great. But sometimes he still asks, why did that lady hate me? And I don't know how to answer that. Karen moved out 6 months later. Foreclosed. The house sat empty for a while. Then some nice retired couple bought it. They asked if the neighbors were friendly. I smiled and said, mostly. So yeah, I got my revenge. I ruined Karen's job, her reputation, and I helped her ex take the kids away from her. I don't feel bad about that. But I learned something, too. Revenge doesn't always fix things. Sometimes it just clears the wreckage so you can move forward. But sometimes? That's enough.